welcome to Style of Play, episode 38, I think it is. Episode 38. We'll be looking forward to this one. Obviously, we've got I was going to say the dynamic duo. It's not the dynamic duo, it's the gruesome trio. Damon, Kojo, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm in good spirits, man. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to this one.
It's going to be a great one. It's going to be a great one.
Damon's repping for his club already. How you doing, Damon?
Well, how am I doing? What a question. I was doing all right until like yesterday. So we decided to pull out of Zubimendi. We got let's say pleasantly denied by Zubimendi. How about that?
I love the
thanks,
words.
thanks, but no thanks. How about that?
Yeah, maybe next time. To be fair, we're going to talk about it, but I feel I can see why he did that. I can see why he did that. I don't think it's a fact. It's not a stain on Liverpool at all, from what I've been reading. But we'll get into that. But before we do get into that, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you're watching beyond the live stream and you're catching up, then make sure you give the video a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments as well. And also the audio version of the podcast will be out shortly after the live stream as well. But we're talking Liverpool tonight. That we're previewing Liverpool. I nearly said it in a Scouse accent then as well. Obviously, normally just rolls off the tongue. Obviously,
Surrounded by them.
What wife being a Scouse and everything, but yeah, no, Liverpool. I'm gonna go straight to Damon first. Obviously, it's your club, so it's only right that I come to you first. Let's talk about last season. Jurgen Klopp, 8 full seasons, but theoretically did 9. I think if you count when he joined, I think that's correct.
8.5, about October, yeah.
Yeah, give us a assessment of Jurgen Klopp first of all, his time at Liverpool. Should he have won more, or do you feel that based on transfers, etc., he actually probably overachieved at times?
It really pisses me off looking back at the Jurgen Klopp era, because he is a manager, right, that deserves to be up there in terms of the conversations of Fergie, Pep, Mourinho, in terms of his ability as a manager. But again, a mixture of things have let him down massively. I mean, you talk about Man City 115 and whatever. That's a part of it. It's a big part of it. Obviously, if they have cheated, then it's a massive part of it because we come second a few times. So, but then also with the lack of backing from FSG a lot, where we have to rely on sales a lot. I mean, you look back at the Coutinho sale. Without that Coutinho sale, we win fuck all. And being deadly serious, we win nothing. But a club shouldn't have to rely on that. You know what I'm saying? We should have gone out there and said, Alisson, Fabinho, come on, let's come here. Let's go win some titles. Let's go win some trophies. But we'll have to rely on Coutinho. I'm so glad that Coutinho set happened, because we wouldn't have seen what we were seeing. But again, Jurgen Klopp works miracles. I mean, he turned John Ensign, that's what well beat at one point. I've not seen a team dominant the way we for like a year and a half. We were absolutely dominant. I think we were like a crazy unbeaten run, wasn't it? For like a year and a half, we got 99 points. We've got 97 points, 2 seasons in a row, which is ridiculous. And a Champions League in between that as well, and the Champions League final. I mean, that is just unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. Not for the Premier League anyway. I think I've seen the best of players. I've seen the best of the best of times under Jurgen Klopp, but again, I think he was massively let down from other areas of the pitch. He had faults in him. He had massive faults in him. Early on in his career, he wouldn't make substitutions till like 80-something minute, and it ruined us at times. But then when he's looking back at his bench, and he's looking at his bench, he's got Oxlade-Chamberlain's got one leg. Navigator's got half a leg missing. James Milner's eating a rich tea biscuit. You know what I'm saying? He's not looking much to bring on, so... I think I'm thankful for Jurgen Klopp, but it's a shame that it ended with just like 1 Premier League and 1 Champions League. I think he deserved much more than that. But we move on now, don't we? I think there's more to him leaving as well. Yeah. There was a rumor that he was in a meeting with FSG in November, and he came out of that meeting saying, "I've had enough." So I want to know what's going on, really. It's just clarity from the club, innit, really. I want to know.
I think that will come out eventually. Maybe not anytime soon. Maybe a couple of years, it will come out as to why the cracks were starting to show, not just with Jurgen Klopp, but I think there was tension between. Obviously, we've seen it sort of spill out in terms of transfers. Jurgen Klopp clearly wanted certain players. Certain players weren't on FSG's radar, or they attempted to do things a bit too late, and then other clubs would come in and do the deal a bit quicker. But Kojo, what do you think about Jurgen Klopp in terms of? Because I think he did what he needed to do with the tools that he had, and by that I mean, like you've just mentioned, some of the injury-prone players, and some of the players that he potentially wanted to bring into the club didn't come into the club. Do you feel like Jurgen Klopp potentially should have won more than he did?
I think he would feel like he should have won more than he did. But what I would define as the factors that stopped that is, yes, the injuries. Yes, you can blame managerial moments, but I think at times Liverpool was just very unlucky. If I'm being honest, I'm looking back at a lot of their games, and it was either a game where they just had a boatload of chances, and for some reason on their day they put it away. When you guys finished with, I think it was a 97-point season. You can remind me, there was a 0-0 that Man United and Liverpool had, and you guys killed us. From minute 1 to minute 90, you dominated that game. And I remember telling my friends who were Liverpool fans, Wale and David, I told them, I'm sorry to say this, but it's the draws that's going to stop you from winning this league. It's the draws. True. It's not the losses. It's the 1 point that or the 2 points that you drop rather than 3. That makes it even worse. And that's the kind of unlucky you had in those key moments where you're missing those chances here and then. It's like, why are you not getting hold of it today? Those are the things that made it unlucky. As for him, look, he won every trophy possible that he could win at Liverpool. Even if it didn't come in a full year, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a treble, it doesn't have to be a treble, it doesn't have to be a double. He won everything he could win at Liverpool, point blank period. So he was ultra successful. But what you said there, obviously I'm not an insider, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I don't get the inside news. But that meeting that you spoke about in November, if that is true, what we've seen this summer is probably the reason why he left. And I'm glad he did it that way, because the one manager I criticised for not doing that way at Tottenham is Pochettino. Pochettino finished second with a great team and got you to Champions League final, and they had an interview with Gary Lineker and said, we need to change the furniture in the room, alluding to changing the squad. There's things that need to change. So he needs to be backed, and he stayed, and that was a very foolish decision. I think he should have walked out after that final. Klopp walked out with his head out high, because the worst thing that could have happened is those players that he knows he couldn't get in, he deals with the same squad, you start getting negative results, and then people start questioning him. It's not to do with him. Obviously, you know, we'll see how Arne Slot does, and maybe he will have a lot of positive results, and then maybe that question could be changed. But right now, I think a big reason why of him leaving is because he's been told, we ain't got you back in the market, and that's poor. That's poor. We're not seeing, well, what I'm not seeing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not seeing concrete transfer or contract talks that are making sure that
now we're not signing anyone. We're not signing anyone now.
Well, no, I'm not talking about signings now. I'm talking about keeping players. I'm not hearing that they're doing everything to keep Trent. They're doing everything to keep Van Dijk. You know what I mean? It's these things contribute to a manager leaving. So, you know, I think he's left at the right time. And if Liverpool continue to be successful, I think it looks even better on him, because he's left something good for Slot to work with. And if they don't work out, then it's also going to look good for him, because they're going to say this is why he left. He's in a win-win situation. So man, kudos to him. I hate him for what he did for your club, but kudos to him, innit?
That's something up though. That he hates him. So that shows you, doesn't it? Shows you.
I think he goes down as one of the. I know you said before, Damon, about he should get the respect of a Alex Ferguson or a Mourinho or someone of that level. I think he does. I think from outside, if other fans and obviously Liverpool fans are being honest, he does get that respect, because I think when you look where Liverpool were through those like turbulent years before Klopp joined, you know, he installed belief back with the fans. He got them playing attractive football again. Teams were scared to go to Anfield, let's be honest. Like, teams hated to play Liverpool and still do to this day, just because of what the foundations that he set at the club. So I think he's definitely got to go down as one of the best Liverpool managers, 100%, and one of the best in the Premier League as well, alongside Pep, alongside, you know, Arsene Wenger, alongside Alex Ferguson as well. So I think he goes down. He's got, like you've both said, he holds his head high. Come on, no, you got to. I know you're talking from a United perspective.
I don't want to disrespect him, because I think when we have these conversations, when people say he's not near them, it comes across as disrespectful. It's not. I think the difficulty with a conversation like that is because these guys have so much years on him. That's the difficult conversation, because unfortunately for him also, what's going to be looking down the history books is, yes, he competed with a phenomenal City side, but unfortunately for him, a lot of the times he came second to that City side. So because of that, when it comes to these discussions, it's just what it is. It's just what it is.
I hear what you're saying, but I still think he's got to get. I still think he went like that season when was it 97 points? That's unbelievable. Like they should have won the league that season.
It's fantastic. Like, yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see that sort of running of a season again in our lifetime, probably. So I think he gets, for me anyway, I'm talking for me, I'm not talking for you, Kojo, Dane, but he definitely gets some credit for that, because there's not many other managers that would go toe to toe with that City squad and do what he did. So I have to give him his credit for that. Do I like him? Not really, but it's a different story for a different day. I think if we talk in football terms, what he did, the legacy that he left, the impact that he had on the fans as well. Obviously, being up here, just seeing that last game that he did and the impact he had on the City. I don't think there's going to be many managers, whoever comes in after Slot and whoever else will have that impact on that team, on the club.
And we were two games away from a quadruple as well. 2 seasons
exactly.
after.
So. Yeah. So it's a big one. It's a big one. But let's talk Arne Slot. Come in, Klopp's gone, Slot's in. Damon, I'm going to come to you first. I mean, he seems to have got off on the right foot in terms of, I know it's only pre-season, but just in terms of what he's bringing into the team. And as I said before we started recording, watching Liverpool on Sunday at Anfield, you can see that he's doing something. He's trying to build something. I know lack of transfers hasn't helped that, but he's got on playing really good football. What's your first impressions of Slot so far?
It is, yeah. I'm excited about Slot because it's something different to Klopp, innit? It's more possession based. It's more a bit like Pep, a bit more. I don't know. It's more tactical than what Klopp does. Klopp's hard work, go get the ball back quick as you can upfield, and then kill him from there. But yeah, I think Slot's a bit more. Take your time, work it out, get round, do different things as well, direct and indirect, quite quick passes as well as long balls as well, which is I like that. And yeah, I'm excited to see. But again, like I said, if he ain't going to get back properly, then he's going to be let down just as much Klopp is. He can only do so much of what he's got. But I think I am really, really excited on the Slot. He's been impressive in the pre-season. Again, you went on Sunday, didn't you? You saw how the football were playing, decent football. And is another player. I think he's another manager that probably could get the best out of some certain individuals, where we could possibly challenge if we get the right personnel there. I'm excited. I am excited. It's a shame Klopp's gone, but I am excited. I think we have replaced him with the right person. From what I've seen right now.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a good fit for Liverpool. And it's early days. Obviously, things can happen in the Premier League, and pre-season. Some teams look amazing, some teams look really bad, and then they flip it around and they kick in, and the season starts and they just start clicking. But I'm impressed with him. I think he's just someone that I think has almost not tried to take over what Klopp was trying to do, but he's almost using the best bits of what Klopp was doing at that club and putting his own little stamp of authority onto it as well. Just again, just from watching the game that I got to see, the one I've missed a lot of the preseason, but the game that I did get to see on Sunday, you can see that he's changed small little tweaks tactically with the squad. But Kojo, you mentioned in terms of Virgil van Dijk and Trent as well, two massive signings or two contracts that you should be looking now, especially before we talk about the transfers, that you should be locking down. In terms of those two have to stay at this club at least, for the next couple of seasons or so. Are you shocked that hasn't happened yet in terms of, those negotiations, nailing them down? You think that now that has to be priority number one for Liverpool?
I was going to say, originally I was going to say to you that because they've got American owners, I'm not so shocked. But at the same time, knowing how vital these two are, it's utterly shocking. Because I say it like this: where Slot is lucky is that he didn't come the next season, because then you're talking about maybe a contract being run out and you're losing 2 key men immediately. At least he's got them for a year. At least he's got them to try, win them around. If that's the situation, of course, win them around. You try and get them to sign a new contract. The board needs to back him and make sure these two are signed to a new deal. Because with Van Dijk, I know Van Dijk's aging, but Van Dijk is Van Dijk. He's been the best centre back in the league for how many years now? I'd have to really, really delve into that. Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of the most phenomenal right backs you'll see. No matter what people have of criticism, there's a lot of things that he does that a lot of players just cannot do, point blank, period. And when you got a talent like that, you don't lose them, especially on the free. You know what I mean? That's a player that if Liverpool were to lose, you lose him for 120 million pounds, because that's the kind of player that he's been for Liverpool. You don't lose him for anything less than 100, point blank, in my opinion. So yeah, they have to sign the contracts, but he's not going to be the issue. And I think Liverpool fans know that he's not going to be the issue, because this is not being something that's new. He's come to the club, he's got them work, he's got them playing, he's trying to get his style in. He's doing what he needs to do. And when the season starts, hopefully for their sake, he can get things going. It's the people upstairs that need to make sure that this contract are signed, that they come correct and don't undercut them with a weird contract and all that kind of stuff. These are players that are important. If you don't give Trent a contract in January, he's talking to Real Madrid. He's talking to Bayern Munich. You know why? Because they're going to approach him immediately and they're going to say, do you want to come here? That's how it's going to work. Van Dijk, the same thing. And with his experience, sometimes he can go to even a slower league where, they play that kind of technical football that he likes as well. But they'll also look to win Champions Leagues with him as well. And, I'm not saying that Liverpool can't stop a player from going to Real Madrid, but these are the kind of clubs that are going to come and say, you're not giving these guys contracts, then we'll gladly give them one. Like they did with Mbappe, like they're going to try and do with other players in the future. This is what they do. So it's baffling. It's baffling. It's quite frankly baffling. I don't want to use the example of Chelsea, because Chelsea do weird contracts in general. But Cole Palmer's had one. He's had one.
We could get Trent and Van Dijk by January.
Well,
I wouldn't put it past Chelsea, would you? Really?
Well, if Van Dijk is willing to sign a contract after 2040, then absolutely. But until then, I'm not.
I'd lose my shit. I'd lose my shit if that was to happen.
If they went there, you're in trouble.
I'd lose my shit.
Yeah, big trouble. But yeah, no, I just Van Dijk, I'm not sure, but Trent, Real Madrid is his only destination. He would not go to another Premier League club, in my opinion. I don't think the love for Liverpool is too strong for that to even be a thing.
He wouldn't do it.
And I think the only club that can lure him away would be Real Madrid. But that's the point. Don't let Madrid have the power to come and sign him on a free transfer. That's the main thing here. I don't care if you have to give him a 2-year deal just because you know that you want to make some money off him. Have some respect for the club and what the player has done for the club and what the club has done for the player, and make everything, meet collectively. Until then, if you continue to just undercut them, these players will walk away. And Trent is not a player that is going to be short of options. Everyone's going for him. Everyone on this planet is going for him. Even the enemies will go for him. I won't be surprised. He'll completely air it, but he'll see another bold guy in his messages saying, "Hey,
another Dutch guy.
Would you mind coming across?" He'll say no. Obviously, he'll be like, "F off." But
listen,
there's not one manager.
Have you heard him here? Have you heard him here?
So Campbell plays for Tottenham. There's a different level here. There's a different level here.
I'm just saying.
You do know if Trent went to Manchester United, he would not be allowed back into Liverpool.
Oh, I know.
It would never happen, but it would be funny to see it happen.
It would be hilarious, but yeah, it would happen.
Maybe not for you, Damon, but for us, it would be 100% funny.
Would it be fair to say? Would it be fair to say that it would be as controversial as Figo's move?
I'd say it's up there. Controversial. God, that'd be one of the worst things.
Let's not forget Michael Owen played for Liverpool and was also, I know it's different.
That's a bad one. But it was Chester when he was born in Chester when he went to Scouts.
Yeah, but it's still close. It's still close enough.
Yeah.
He came through as a Liverpool youth player. So yeah, but I don't. My worry for Liverpool, especially with Trent, is you don't want these two contracts hanging over that first part of the season. You don't want to go into that sort of November, December period and it still isn't resolved and you're still unsure, because I think that will start impacting the performances. Then you might get Trent or Van Dijk, their heads might start turning if there are lucrative deals. And the worrying thing with Liverpool is they're not one to shell out wages. You know, I don't know. I can't think there's many on, 300,000 at Liverpool.
Just Salah. Just
Salah, I think, isn't it? So
yeah.
They're not, the Todd Bowleys and co. They're not throwing out stupid contracts and signing people to death row contracts either. So that worries me a little bit in terms of the Shock Knight contracts are there. I'm telling you, Cole Palmer just signed an extension today, 2033. We're doing the same for Nicholas Jackson. So, but we've done Chelsea, so we're all right. We're not talk about them. But just in terms of Michael Edwards as well, I wanted to talk to you about him, Damon, because he's obviously come in. There's meant to be some sort of friction. You're obviously a lot closer to these sort of stories than I am, but there was a bit of friction, I think, with some of the sort of technical directors, the backroom staff, board members with Klopp, which is potentially why, as soon as Klopp left, certain familiar faces returned to Anfield. But do you think? I mean, are you worried about Trent, Van Dijk going elsewhere? I've got to ask the questions.
If I'm honest, yeah, I actually am. Trent not as much because he's Scouse, and it seems like he's going to be the Liverpool captain at some point. It makes sense. It's a bit like the Gerrard thing, but Gerrard was close to joining you, wasn't he? He was so close. He literally joined you, and he just did a little change of heart.
I wonder what that change of heart was.
And that,
in fact, I know what the change of heart was.
that was a little taste of what Trent could happen. I mean, Trent it's Jude, isn't it? Jude and Real Madrid calling him. It's a big opportunity. It all depends on us. If we're ambitious, right, these players stay. These players want to win trophies, and I don't begrudge him. And people say, "Oh, Judas Trent, if he goes," I don't begrudge him if he went. If he wants to go win trophies, and if our ambitions aren't matching his ambitions, then I'm sorry, we can't say anything. We need to look at ourselves first and foremost. And Van Dijk coming out. Did you see him come out the other night and say, "We need some signings"? He basically said, "We need some signings." That's twice he's done that now.
And that's
when
worrying.
Do you see that? When do you see that?
Yeah. That is worrying. It is worrying because your captain's coming out and almost telling us
we need some help.
Things that are probably some things that are obviously happening upstairs in the club. And when your captain comes out and says that publicly, it's not good, Let's talk about obviously the deal that is not going to be the deal. I mean, where do we start with it? I can't remember who broke it first. Was it Ornstein? David Ornstein, I think, broke it.
That's coming now.
Or Paul Joyce.
I think it was.
I think Paul Joyce. Was it Joyce?
I think it was Ornstein first, and Joyce came in.
Yeah,
There's a few murmurs before, but yeah, it was Ornstein mainly.
How are you feeling? Let's talk about it. Let's use this section as a therapy section for lack of transfers at Chelsea. We don't have any transfers at Chelsea.
Sit back. You know what, mate? I'm fucking tired. This isn't the first one.
Yeah.
You go back to fucking Nabil Fekir. He did an actual interview. He did an actual interview for the channel, and that fell through obviously with his injuries. Yeah, he actually did. Yeah, it was actually online. He did an interview for the channel, for the Liverpool channel. It was there, Bede, and also the injury, the sort of medical sort of thing messed up. Then he went to Jude. We used Jude as a scapegoat for 3 years. We followed this guy, and ended up in the third year saying we didn't know it was going to be that much money. 3 years we followed this guy, and we didn't buy the midfielders for 3 years because we're following Jude. And we do that, and then Mr. Caicedo last season, we put in a £111 million bid out of nowhere. Like, I think that's the greatest PR of all time, by the way. Yeah. I don't think that bid was... I think it was a real bid, but they knew he was signing for Chelsea. They just thought, there you go, we're going to back Klopp. Bollocks. Yeah. Did you see Klopp that morning on the press conference morning? He honestly, he was pissing himself with excitement. pissed himself out excitement thinking we're going to get Caicedo next to McAllister.
Yeah.
And, we got Endo. I like Endo. Again, he should have been brought as a squad player alongside another DM. But what a fucking drop off from Caicedo to Endo. And now we still haven't got a DM. Again, yeah. the Lavia situation. We pissed him about. We deserve to be pissed about today because this time because we pissed Lavia about. Maybe it's karma. Is it karma? Someone said 50 million. We're like 42 million. 50 million. We'll give you 44 million. 50 million. 44.5 million. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah. We try lowballing teams, and when we expect our players to go on for big prices, then as well. And it's not the first. This is why the Zubimendi thing right now. I'm expecting it now. I'm just expecting disappointment in transfer window, and now I've just out. It got to about Friday. It's been like 2 weeks. I don't know. It got to about Friday now. Like, I don't even give a shit what happens now. Just tell us you're either coming or you're not coming. And I think there's a guy called Mo Chatra. I don't know if you know Mo Chatra, and he's basically like a finance expert. And I've had him on the House channel before, and he broke down of what really went wrong with the Zubimendi thing. Obviously, it was mostly on him, the fact that he decided against it. But again, it was down to the club as well, slightly, where we could have paid the £51 million up front and got him. When he said yes, when he said it's not agreed to come. Yeah. But we wanted a contract structure. We wanted a structure where we pay might be a little bit more, but over time, like in years and years, like installments like you would do. And it's just a cheap version again. It's like, oh, we'll pay you like 20 million next year, 20 million. It's just everything's a cheap way of doing it. And I think then that's when the doubt started. Like, he's going to think to himself, Zuben is going to think to himself, this is my boyhood club. I want them to make sure they get the right money from me. I don't want them to be getting done over here. This is my boyhood club. You're making me leave my boyhood club here. So I think it's a mixture. I think it's definitely mostly his fault for saying yes and then saying no. But the club, a lot of Liverpool fans are not even looking at FSG on this deal. Absolutely not. It's madness. Absolute madness. And the fact that we waited for that long anyway, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We waited all that time, like, please come, and they said no. And now the reports are that, Melissa Reddy's come out and said it today. Paul Joyce said it come out yesterday. A few other journalists came out yesterday saying we're not looking for alternatives.
Oh, God.
and the PR from the club last night was Gravenberch and Jones can do well at 6. That's what came out last night. Gravenberch and Jones can do well at 6. And I said, fuck you.
Take it you're not happy about
it. Mate, honestly, I love Gravenberch. I think Gravenberch is a very good player, but he's not a 6.
Good. Yeah.
He's not a 6. And honestly, mate, I'm so tired. The amount of abuse that people get because they're FSG out. And no one listens, though. A lot of them are waking up now to it. Like, even like today, I've seen someone that's not FSG out, that likes FSG, saying it's just PR bullshit. This is. I said it's been happening for years, mate. It's been happening for absolute years. We followed Jude for 3 years. Was that not enough to see what the fuck's going on here?
There is. I mean, there's. I'm trying to think. There's I think his name's Varela. Is it from Porto?
Yeah.
Varela. Yeah.
And I think he would suit Liverpool to a T. I don't know how much he would cost. I can't imagine what the fees are. Maybe 50, 60 million, which obviously was
that's what's out of it.
But I think you can't go into this season. Kojo, what do you think? You can't go into this season as Liverpool club, Liverpool fan, with just really McAllister and Endo, who I think is even, if there's talks, he might even leave before the window shuts as well. I can't see that happening now. Obviously, Thiago left in the summer on a free. His contract ended. So what can Liverpool do? What can they really go into this season without, another 6?
Okay, so no, but the thing about Arne Slot is he doesn't tend to play like a 4-3-3 with one DM. He just play like a pivot. So not that it could work in their favor, but there's a way to work around it. That's the other way of looking at it. if you look at his time at AZ and Feyenoord, he always played with like a 4-2-3-1. So if Endo or McAllister is supposed to be the defensive type midfielder in the pivot, at least you have someone that's more like an engine that can do the box to box with the quality. So Graham Burke can do a bit of a box to box. I know Jones can. Obviously, Jones is a lot more attacking, but he can sort of drive with the ball a little bit. But they still need to get on midfielder regardless, and that's where the problem is. So even if it's not a so-called defensive midfielder, if it's a centre midfielder that is defensive-minded, that works. They just need to sign somebody at this point. I think Zubimendi said no because, yes, a lot of the news coming out of Spain is obviously they spoke to him about how good he has it in his hometown. He's a homeboy. He likes going into the mountains in certain times of the year. You're not going to have that over here, obviously. So, so no problem. But I think the big thing, and hearing Damon speak, if a club says to you, we want you, and you agree a contract, and then you go to the club, and the thing is, in La Liga, if Liverpool or any club in England or any club elsewhere wants to trigger the release clause of a player, you have to do it through the league. It goes through La Liga. Just like how Arsenal did it with Partey very late, and that's why Atletico Madrid was so angry with them, because they agreed that if you pay the fee, obviously then there's nothing they can do. And then they waited till pretty much the last minute to do it, and they were angry because they left Atletico no time to buy a replacement. You could just do that. So what you've done is you've given the player absolute guarantee that you're going to sign him and you'll do everything to sign him. And then you've gone to Sociedad and you've expected them to agree a deal that they're just not going to agree on. It's to the point that they fought tooth and nail to keep him, and now they're talking about giving him a new contract, which makes it even worse now, because you try to sign him next summer, that clause is probably doubled now. It's going from 51 to 100, 102, 103, 105. It's ridiculous. It's poor business. I think you only give a player a guarantee that you'll sign him once you have sort of like an inkling from the club that that's the kind of bid they're going to accept. So if you're going to go over it, sure. It's like us with Xerxes. Xerxes' release clause we didn't pay. We paid just over, but because we agreed a structure of how we're going to pay the deal. So the club were happy with that. Then we go to the player and say, yeah, we've agreed how the structure is going to be. So now let's get your contract sorted. If you've gone the other way, you're just kicking yourself in the foot. It's not going to work. So they need to sign somebody. Me personally, I'm not going to suggest any names because I feel like some people watch this podcast. I don't want to go and leak names, but no. On a serious level, no. You sign a midfielder. The type of midfielder for Slot is the most important thing. Zubimendi can play in the pivot all by himself, so that would have been the perfect signing. But that's obviously not happening now. So Varela is a good shout. I don't know how you'd feel about this, but I think he'd suit you. Would be Danilo from Nottingham Forest. And I say that because I understand he might not be the highest quality midfielder to pick from, but football is about systems. And if he fits the system and knows his role, he'll do it well. And he does it well. He's one of the few players at Nottingham Forest that gives you a comfortable 7 out of 10 week in, week out. So yeah, those are the two names that obviously after Theo said it, two names I can think of, but there's no one that comes close to Zubimendi, unfortunately, in this market, which is the truth. Yeah.
Spot on. He's spot on. He was for me the one that was almost a missing piece to the puzzle for Liverpool. There's been a lot of talk about needing another centre back as well, left back, but I think your priority has to be that midfield, because even your attackers, you could say, obviously there's a lot of talk about Nunez this season. Cody Gakpo, Jota looks like he's hitting the form that we know Jota can hit as well. You've got Ben Doak, who potentially might be going out on loan, but still, if he doesn't, he's an option that you can use in some of that squad rotation going forward as well. So I always thought midfield would have been the key priority. It just made sense to go and get that as the key marquee signing that you need.
Yeah, get it done. Yeah,
just get it done. And I get what Kojo is saying in terms of, because that's a bit like the Ian Matson deal to Villa. That deal was done in terms of the release clause was 35 million, but Villa paid 39, 40 million over a longer period of time, which the club were happy with. Chelsea were clearly happy with that. And it suited Villa. So yeah, I mean, that's got to be a learning curve surely for Liverpool going forward, that they can't make this mistake again, because theoretically, I mean, watching the game on Sunday, it was very easy for Seville to get that ball through that midfield. It was too easy, and I know Trent kept dropping into that sort of space to try and nullify some of that, but it's too easy, and against better opposition,
Gonna get killed.
Yeah, he's just gonna get walked all over in that midfield.
Yep, that's what happened last year. That's exactly what happened last year. And I actually did a video for our channel. I said our biggest mistake was not getting a proper DM. It's still then you look at the comments and say, "Yeah, you don't know what you're on about. Go play FIFA and stuff like that." But I look back and I think, watch the season now. The season absolutely showed that we absolutely needed a defence midfielder. And like I said, Endo did a good job. McAllister did an all right job there, but you can see he's just not a six. You need a defensive minded. You need a proper world class six. Like not even like world class. It could be maybe just a little bit less than world class. I said Zubiden's not world class, but you know what I'm saying. But potentially world class as well. That's what he was.
You can rely on him. You know he's got potential as well.
We look over the past years of who has won the title. They've all got a class six, and it's such an important. Even like back to us with Fabinho. And if you think Endo's a good Fabinho replacement, that's a big insult to Fabinho.
Yeah, I feel like Endo was always going to be a stopgap. He was never meant to be. You said it just before. He was meant to be more almost a squad rotational player, or a player that you just. And I think he grew into the season. I think when he first started, I wasn't really that impressed with him. Then he had moments where I was really impressed with him, later into the season. But I just always felt he was just a very much of a stopgap player that he was always going to just try and move on at the end of this season if you could bring in those key players. But to me, that's the biggest concern as a Liverpool fan. If I was looking at certain players, Fabinho's obviously gone, Thiago's gone. Haven't nailed down the contracts, as we said, about Van Dijk, Trent, Salah, another one. We haven't even spoken about.
They're all in the last year. They're all in last year. Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk last year.
Yeah, and those three, I know obviously just mentioned Ben Doak and Connor Bradley's there as a player that you can see coming through the ranks at Liverpool at some point, but to throw them straight into a season would be unthinkable and unheard of. I think if you was Arne Slot, you just wouldn't do that. So that to me is the key concern for Liverpool this season. I think if you had that six, those contracts are tied down. You keep certain players fit, and Nunez, who I still think has got a lot more to offer. It's a massive. Let's talk about him for a minute, because I feel like this is a season defining. It's got to be his best numbers. What's your thoughts on him first of all? Because he's a very mixed opinion across the Liverpool fan base.
He is the most frustrating footballer I've ever seen wear a Liverpool shirt. I mean, it's frustrating. When he first signed, I've backed him quite a bit. I've had Man United fans coming on the podcast as well, on my podcast, and they've hammered him. I was like, look, it caused absolute chaos. I said we're better when he's on the pitch, and he isn't on the pitch. However, the more the season went on, the more big chances he was missing. He was averaging like 6-7 shots a game and getting 1-2 on target. That's not good enough. And what I've noticed as well with him is his football IQ is shit. I remember watching a game. I think Sturridge analysed it and he said, "Why is he coming back inside there instead of letting it come across his body and stuff?" Things like that. Like, that's not a number 9 for me.
Yeah. And
I do worry about Nunez, because if Jota doesn't stay fit, and we're relying on Salah for goals again, I'm up in Gakpo as the season that I'm expecting him to have, because Gakpo can really, really shine this season. But Nunez is finishing shit. We've got people. They've got a lot of people that's against Nunez in our chat. We've also got one person that absolutely, like, he can do no wrong. Like, it's quite a weird obsession of him. But he's saying like, "Oh, Slot will get the best out of him. Slot will change it." But Slot doesn't improve his finishing. It's not like he wasn't getting chances. A change of formation isn't going to do fuck all to his finishing. He got plenty of chances under Klopp. Plenty of chances. He had, like I said, 6-7 shots a game. A few games he had 9 shots. That's madness. 9 shots for one player is crazy. Some teams will get 9 shots. That miss against Fulham from just under the bar. I mean, you can't do that. It costs you points, and he wasn't the main reason why we dropped off last season, but it was a big part of it. And a lot of our forwards dropped off a lot towards the end of last season. But if we want to win titles, we can't have him as number 9 unless he improves his finishing. And he needs to work himself. I think he's got a mental issue where it's more. He's not ice cold. He's erratic. You saw him with the Copa America thing when he started punching fans and started throwing chairs. Like, what? Come on, man! Just stop doing this sort of shit. I get it, protecting your family going in, but he went into the crowd 3 times and started throwing chairs, and it's like, fuck me, what are you actually doing? Like, he's not cool at all. He can't keep his head, and all it takes is like one. Imagine him back in old school days, like against Terry and like Adams and fucking Vidic. It'd have been sent off every week. Because those you saw him against fucking Anderson for fucking Crystal Palace. He lost his head, didn't he? Was it like the first game against Anderson and he lost his head? You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't lose your head, and that's going to cost us again. But he'll come up with a sensational goal out of nowhere. He'll score a hard goal out of nowhere, but you can't rely on that. For me, if we was an ambitious club, a brutal club, I'd let Núñez go and bring in an absolute ball, like a proper scorer. But I'm giving him this season, and if he doesn't improve his finishing, I'll give him one more season. And I've been backing him for quite a while, like I proper backed him, but he can't cost us anymore. He needs to start improving. He needs to start. If he just got down with it, focus on himself. We saw like Cody Gakpo got a lot of racist abuse online, didn't he? He came away from online, but he focused. He sat down and focused on himself, and he came back and he was absolute class when he came back in the team. Then Núñez apparently got all this abuse online, but that's never been proven, by the way, the Núñez abuse. And then it's sort of like he don't focus on it. Like I don't know if it's just like does he like just enjoy parties or something like that? I don't know. I don't think he's got the mindset of a proper elite footballer that you need.
And that's what it comes down to sometimes. Isn't it? I think
it really
sometimes
is.
all that comes down to is can you work on things and apply things better yourself rather than just say that the manager's going to help me do this or the coaches are going to help me do this. I remember there's certain players that I know that have played at a good standard of football, and they're the first ones on the training pitch, and they're the ones that are still there when everyone's gone home. And it's those little small things that you work on. I think even Daniel Sturridge said this about Núñez as well in one of his post-match analysis sometime last season, but he said it's those little things you've got to work on the training ground. You've got to work on them. If you don't work on them, and you can only work on them so much because, again, you've got to do that and apply it in the match because it's so different. You can train on scoring and, you're finishing. But when you're in the game, you've still got to apply it and make sure that you execute it as well. And if you can't do those two things, the pressure's going to mount on them. I think it's difficult because when we did one of the previews before, we did say that the number 9 is it's like a dying breed. There's not many decent number 9, 25, 20 goals a season strikers out there that would fit Liverpool's sort of model in terms of, the fees, the wage structure. There's just not many of them. So, I like him. I think this season, like I said, it's really good. It's going to define whether he stays at the club or not. But I think there's a player in there. I really do. I think he's got something about him. Kojo.
Sorry. Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
There is a player there, but that's the frustrating thing about him. We've got a lot of players now that they're so good.
This is his third season.
Third season now.
Third season, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of players now that we like that do so well up to the main point, and it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem because what Damon is talking about there is the difference between a win and a draw. That's literally what it is. It's the difference between finishing third and second and first, third and fourth. It's these small things that you keep doing, and it's forgivable if all the other players are saving you. But when you are just missing chance after chance, it just reflects badly on you. You can miss a lot of chances if your team are winning games, no problem. But when you are part of the reason why they're not winning games, it's bad. I mean, not to bring it back to you guys, but when we spoke about Chelsea, we spoke about Nicholas Jackson. He's that kind of guy. He does so well from A to B, but when he gets to point C, it's like, what's happened? What's going on? So as much as I do think there's a good player there, because I'm not gonna even BS about it. When he was in Portugal, I wanted him at United. That was a striker that I wanted. I was gutted that he went to Liverpool, and for the reasons that you've spoken about, because he is an absolute terror to defend against. He's quick, he's strong. You know, he gets into good positions, but it's that end product that's going to cost you. And boy, they might have to invest in. No, not even might have to. Unless they keep Jota fit for a whole year, they're going to have to invest in another striker. This guy, he can't run. He can't continue.
Put it this way. I put another insurance on my TV this season with Nunes. So at some point, that TV's going out a window. Watching Nunes play. There needs to be an actual insurance, right? Watching Nunes is part of the insurance itself. You know, like Sterling, watching Nunes should be part of the insurance, I think.
You're lucky you're not a Chelsea fan, because you'd be throwing your TV out every match, every weekend. But no, I agree with you both. I do think, like I said, a lot of it for me is training ground stuff. You got to apply that in a match, and if you can't do those things, you know, like you said, you can do A and B to perfection, but getting that ball in the back of the net is what the fans, the club, that's all they care about, and rightfully so as well. I don't think there's anyone that would want to see a player with good movement but he can't score, or a player that can link up play but he can't score, or someone that does everything else but they just can't do what they're supposed to be doing in the squad as well. So I think he's got one more season. I think he'll have a good season though. I really do. So I mean, not too good of a season, but I think he'll have a good season. Let's talk about.
Sorry, Theo. If he can't score, he needs to be a Bobby Firmino and be the system.
Yeah.
As a number 9.
This is what I mean.
So he couldn't really score, but he was the system, wasn't it? So
you bring someone else in that can score the goals, and he can provide the assists. So let's talk about some of the youth players, because there are some decent ones I think at Liverpool. You know, Conor Bradley, as you mentioned before, Ben Doak.
Rio. What about Rio? Shall we not mention that?
Rio?
The one that we got from you. The next baller that we got from you.
Oh, him, yeah. I forgot about him already.
next big thing, innit? I know you guys weren't happy while you're about losing.
Yeah, but you got Solanke from us, and I mean, he's at Tottenham now, so it kind of says a lot about some of the players we let go. Quansah, who I think is amazing. A brilliant centre back. I just love watching Quansah. Beščić, who I think might be on the way out on a loan to try and, which I read this afternoon, he might be going on loan. Missed a lot of football, pretty much all of last season. Really bad injury there. Bobby Clark,
He's
another
gone.
one. Oh, is he gone? Is he gone on?
It's pretty much. I think Salzburg are coming in for a third bid. I think it's pretty much going.
Permanent.
It's Pep Linders, isn't it? Pep Linders is Salzburg manager now.
I read about it, but I didn't know. Has it been done? Is it a done deal?
It's pretty much going to be done. Yeah, I think they're coming for a third bid. I think they're trying to get rid of him. Yeah,
because I know Carvalho's gone, hasn't he? I think he's gone to
Brentford.
Yeah, 20 good price, 20 something million, I think it was. So, but just talk about some of the young coming up and coming players. See some of the ones I mentioned there. That doesn't worry me about Liverpool. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be looking forward to seeing some of those players getting integrated a bit more. Obviously, Quansah played a lot of football, and was called up to the Euro squad, but obviously didn't make the final cut today, I don't think. But some of the other players, you know, Bradley, I thought played really well when Trent was missing. But what's your thoughts, Damon, on just some of those younger players coming through?
You know what, our academy is absolutely amazing right now, and the young players coming through most of them are really good. But I think you need a mixture, don't you? A mixture of young players and a few transfers as well to make it the ultimate team, really. Because relying on youngsters, for me, it doesn't work. Not fully on youngsters, and we're seen to be like, oh, look at our academy players, but we're also selling a few now as well, which makes no sense. I know we're sell to buy, but what the fuck are we doing here? We talk about our youngsters, and people say, oh, we've got lots of academy lads, don't worry about transfer, we've got all these academy lads. But we're actually selling them now. Like, Clark's going. Carvalho's a young lad. Carvalho was a young lad through Portugal that was class, obviously English as well. But he was a young lad that coming through that was absolutely class, and he's got a good end product on him, and we got rid of him. So,
but it sounds like you're almost following the, not to the T, but you're following the Chelsea model a little.
Like
bit.
People have been saying that. There's a guy in our chat that's been saying that, and it's like, we're getting like Chelsea. Why are we selling these players? and it doesn't look good because I just feel like we're trying to recoup transfer money too much now. Where we're like sometimes we'd spend, but then we'd also recoup most of it back. But now it seems like we're relying on these sales now to get transfers in. So we're selling a good portion of our youngsters. But I'm excited, like of Bradley coming through. It's a shame Bradley's got Trent in front of him, the best right back in the world. But I'm not that worried if Trent weren't there because Bradley's there. Quanta, he's took a first team spot now. Quanta, he's took over Canate for me, and that's a big statement, I know, but that's how good I rate Quanta, and I really like Canate, but Quanta's just unbelievable. But Jecic, another player that I really like. Again, people see him as a 6. He came through as a defender for the academy, centre back. But I see him as an 8. I think he's too technically gifted going forward. But Jecic going forward, so I see him as like a box-to-box player. Dirk again, I don't know what he is. Dirk, we're looking to either sell or buy, sell or loan. So I don't know what's going on with Dirk. Again, he was another player. But he needs an end product as Dirk. He sort of dribbles past players really easy, like absolutely takes the piss out of them. But then he can't cross it in or out. I'm excited about your guy, Rio, coming through. But the one I'm really, really excited about is Trey Neone at the moment.
Yeah, he scored a brilliant goal Sunday.
He's sensational. He's sensational. He's one midfielder that I was keeping. I've always said to people that come from other clubs, championship clubs, I speak to a lot of other club fans, and I say, are you looking for like a midfielder? Because Trey Neone is the one. If you want to get him a loan, is you want to get in. He's unbelievable. Like the technique he scored again against Sevilla was unbelievable. So Trey Neone. There's a few. Also McConnell's in there as well. A decent player.
Like Jaden Dan's is good as well. I like Jaden Dan's.
Jaden Dan's. You know what? I don't know. I forgot about him. He's behind Jota. Is our best finisher at the club.
Yeah.
It may even be better than Jota. He's clinical. I'd rather play him up front than Nunes at right now. And I said that last season as well.
Wow.
I said bring Jaden Dan on for the rest of the season because he's clinical and he's a proper striker. Definitely Jaden Dan's. And it's Neil Dan's son, isn't it? Jaden Dan's.
Yeah, he's a good player. Really good player. Kojo, give me your thoughts on what does Arne Slot need to do? I know we've said what he needs to buy, but in terms of how well he needs to do with what the tools that he's got, and we're going to get on to key players and players to watch in a minute, but are you confident that he's going to be able to get these players clicking, get them playing some good football?
Yeah, I mean, the luxury is he's not walking into a fully changed squad. These guys have known each other for a while, so he's got some players that know each other. His tactical style is not very different to Klopp's, so that's a nice level of continuity. Like I think you mentioned it earlier, a couple of tweaks when you went to watch the game, you could see that there was a bit of slight differences, but the premise of how they play still remains the same. So I think he's lucky in that regard. He's still got a good squad. I know we were too much with Mendy, but that's one player to add. I think we still talk about Liverpool having a strong squad ready to start the season. In terms of what I think he needs to do, I think as long as he finishes in that top 4, should be fine. I think the expectation is not going to be crazy on his shoulders. I don't think Liverpool fans are looking and saying that you must win the title. I don't think they're saying that it must be a top 2. I think that would be ideal, obviously, of course, for anyone. But I think making the Champions League is absolutely fine. I think Liverpool's sort of transitional time is starting to happen now. Van Dijk a bit older, Salah a bit older, Alisson getting older, but goalkeepers last long, so that's not really a terrible thing anyway.
Yeah, not worried about Alisson. Not worried about Alisson.
Yeah. Robertson injury issues, so it's not necessarily about the quality, more about the availability. And I just don't know if Tsimikas is the guy to be, next in line at this point. They replenished the midfield, so I think that's okay. But of course, they do want that player that is obviously, I guess, better than Endo to be Zubimendi or someone else. But other than that, I think they've still got a decent enough squad. I think you're talking about maybe in the next 3 years replacing 5 of these players and continuing on with what you've got. And obviously, you've mentioned a lot of the young players that you have. If they do make it to the level required, to be starters and star players for Liverpool in the future, then you've got a bright future ahead of you. So it's not all panic stations. Football fans like to sensationalize a lot of things and panic when, we spoke about Van Dijk and Trent earlier, and if those two were to go next summer, you definitely sure some Liverpool fans, not I say sane ones, but the insane ones would go and say, "Oh my God, we're in trouble. It's done. It's over." But Conor Bradley might not be Trent, but Conor Bradley's still damn good, and he's shown that already. You know what I mean? And Quansah's one for the future. So if Konate's not going to be that guy, he could be one of these a good squad piece at least. Then you get someone else in. Sorry, just before I continue, what is the deal with Joe Gomez? Because I heard that there was supposed to be like some sort of deal for him to go to Newcastle. So is he on the transfer list, or is he just like there?
Mate, anyone's on the transfer list right now. We need money. I'm surprised Alisson hasn't been put on the transfer list. I'm honest, mate. Honestly, you know what it is? We've got Sepp van der Berg, we've got Gomez, right? Both are sort of surplus to requirements a little bit. Gomez could play on one back four. He was practically done as a centre back for me until he came to left back, and then he just unbelievable. We said it didn't feel about him playing for left back for England in the Euro as well. I think it made a big difference at left back.
Yeah,
but I just think we're using these players to gain money, and it's just a way of getting Gordon as well. It's just a way of using him to get out. He probably needs first team football as Gomez, but he's not going to get it at Liverpool. But again, it's sort of like we seem to offer him because he's worth more money rather than Sepp van der Berg. It was shit.
And
you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So, and this is what we always do. We always price players out of moves because we're wanting more money to come in.
Right.
And we're putting 20 million on Van der Berg, and PSV won't pay it, and like we're going to be paid. So we're happy leaving. Like if Gomez were to go, we'll get more money from him. The more money coming in for us, the better, no matter who goes. And that's it really annoys me that we're doing that. We should be looking at centre back, by the way, because we should be looking at Van Dijk's getting older, and if he leaves next season, we literally got to replace him just like that. Instead of doing what every other club does and breathes them in.
But
and
apart from Chelsea, let's not throw every club into that comment. We didn't do that.
Let's be honest, though. You replace them. You replace them about 5 players.
I don't know if you can say we replaced. We definitely brought some defenders in, but no, I agree with you 100%. I think it's a fair shout. I think you can't really replace Van Dijk, if that makes sense. You just can't. You can bring someone in that might be able to do, 70%. But Van Dijk, Kojo, as you said, has been arguably the best Premier League defender that we've had for some time.
Ever.
Debatable. Come on, let's not do that tonight.
Prime Van Dijk. I'll give you a longevity, but Prime Van Dijk, no one's touching him.
I'd have to throw John Terry in there. I would. I'd have to throw John Terry.
Terry's the only one that goes close.
Come on, Kojo, throw a name. Go on, Kojo, throw a name.
You know what? Now I'm gonna throw in there. I don't need to, man. Listen,
he better not be fuck up Ferdinand.
Who's gonna do so Campbell? Really? Nah, man. No, look. I think Van Dijk has been phenomenal, and I'm not gonna bullshit about him because I was a fan of him at Southampton. On my own podcast, I did say that at a time when Spurs had Vertonghen and Alderweireld, I said he was the third best in the league when he was at Southampton. Not even at Liverpool yet. So I'm not gonna, come and BS about him. I think he's incredible. But is he the best I've ever seen personally? No. In the league, no. But he's definitely one of the best I've seen. He's not the best I've seen, in my opinion, but he's one of their best. He'll go down in history. If you want to do all-time exercise and put him in there, I'm like, that's fine. Do your thing. I wouldn't put him in there, but hey, do your thing.
We need this.
Before we go, as always, we're gonna pick our player to watch and our star player for Liverpool. Obviously, Damon, you're going last, so you got a bit of time to think. I'm sure you don't need to, but Kojo, who are you going for? Who's your 2?
So I'll go for my one to watch first, being McAllister, because I think people were really becoming alert to the type of or how good he was from that second half of the season. I think they need to get eyes on him throughout the whole season. He's a quality midfielder. If anything is going to go well for Liverpool this year, they need him in that midfield fit and consistent this year. Star player, I'm still going to go Salah, just because we spoke about their forwards earlier, and he's the main goal getter especially from experience. But if you can keep Jota there, that takes a bit of the pressure on him. If Jota can stay fit, but Salah's got to be the guy. I think if Liverpool are going to go top 3, top 2, hell, maybe first, they need him to have at least a 30-goal season in all comps minimum.
Yeah.
So he'll be the star player for me for sure. And then we go from there, man.
I'm gonna go player to watch, Quansah. I think Quansah was just. I kind of agree with what Damon said, that he's probably ahead of Kanate now in terms of partnering Van Dijk. I just look at him and he's so comfortable. So maybe that's because he's got Van Dijk next to him, but he just looks comfortable in that back line, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. Whether that's at Liverpool or somewhere else, they decide to sell him in a couple of seasons, but he's definitely, for me, next season. He's got to be the one for me. My star player, I feel like Trent is going to have a really good season. Whether that's because he wants to put himself in the shop window, don't know. But I think he's going to have a really, really good season. I think we'll see him probably have one of his best seasons under Slot. Not to say they didn't do that for Klopp, but I feel like Trent will be so crucial for Liverpool this season. I could have gone for Salah, I could have gone for Jota, McAllister, another one, Szoboszlai, who we haven't mentioned as well. But I feel like Trent will be the star player for Liverpool.
I agree with that in terms of Trent. Right, you know how much I rate Trent. Trent's my guy. So, but you saw him on Sunday, didn't you? He was spraying balls for fun.
Yeah, no, it was no joke. He's literally just, yeah.
He's like a quarterback, isn't he? One to watch. I'll go one to watch first, and that is Harvey Elliott. This guy behind Trent is the most talented player we have at Liverpool in terms of pure talent. If he gets the game time, get him in your FPLs, because he scores and he assists. Again, the assist. Did he do an assist at week, or was it week before against Arsenal? Can't think what it was. He did a couple of good assists against someone. I can't think what it was. But 3 games, haven't we? But yeah, Harvey Elliott's the one for me, one to watch, because of just if he plays in that number 10 position. I've been wanting him to play a number 10 position for a while. Like, get him in that sort of centre bit, pockets of space. He's an absolute menace. Absolute menace. He's not a right winger. He's not a centre midfielder. He's a 10. He's a little Bernardo Silva type player. So yeah, Harvey Elliott's my one to watch, my star player, and I'm basing us off knowing that we're not going to go for a DM. Is going to be Van Dijk, because he's got a lot of defending to do. Either that or Alisson Becker, because I know how much Alisson saves us so many times with one-to-ones. I've never seen a one-on-one keeper like him in my life. I'm more confident. You know what? You know when you start back and say, go back in the day when like Costa or Jogba were through, or if you go to United where Rooney, Van Nistelrooy through, me with Torres and Suarez, you're thinking, yeah, it's a goal. I think the same opposite with Alisson, gets a save. You know what I'm saying? That's how good he is in terms of one-to-one. But I will go Van Dijk just because I think he's got a big job this year to do. And if it's going to be his last year, he'll want to go out on a bit of a high. But I feel sick saying that. If it's going to be his last year. I don't want to think about it. Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk got it in one summer, and we're already lowballing fucking teams this summer, and we've got a DM to get next to him as well as. I feel sick. We're going to be a banter club again, mate. We're going to be a fucking banter club again, mate. Bring our Eriksen back, man. Honestly, it's going to be a fucking banter club again.
And me and Kojo will be front row, watching along. League positions, we didn't do those. I can't remember. I need to really write these down tonight. But I think my second place is vacant. I think. So I'm going to go second or third because I can't remember what I said. But I think Liverpool would do well this season. I do. I know we've just spoke about their lack of, a 20 goal a season. Obviously, Mo Salah's there, but in terms of Núñez, but I think Liverpool will do well.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Kojo?
Fifth.
Fuck off. Where's he put Man United? Has he done Man United yet?
No,
trust me. Man United fans don't want to know where I put Man United ever. Believe me, don't worry about it. No, I'm being serious. It's not that Liverpool can't finish in the top four. Of course they can. I just think they'll have some difficulties this year, and some teams will overachieve more than they should do. I think obviously City are definitely taking a spot. I think unfortunately for me, Arsenal will take a spot in the top four. And that's great. But yeah, I think third, fourth, and fifth will be a nice battle this season. I'm intrigued to see who wins the third and fourth place. But I think Liverpool might be finishing fifth.
Go on, Damon, say first.
I'm realistic, mate. I'm actually realistic. I'm realistic. I'm not like these people that think, oh yes, we'll win the league and stuff. The reason why I'm crying that we ain't got a 6 tells you everything you need to know. Like, we ain't going to win the league without a 6. You know, when we're against Declan Rice and Rodri, come on. I mean, we've got to be realistic here. I think third, because I think we can't do worse than United or Spurs, if I'm honest. I can't see it. Not with the players we've got. And I think, but I do think, I've said to you before, guys, on that, I said I'm looking behind rather than forward. And I'm being deadly serious. I think the gaps between all of them anyway will close between all. I think Arsenal win it this season, but I don't think it'll be bigger than. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the gaps between Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and the rest will be as big this season. I think United and Spurs will close the gap on Liverpool. I think Newcastle will close the gap on Liverpool as well. So I think we'll get third, and if we don't sign anyone, I think it'll only be just third. And that scares me because we've gone from top of the league, challenging for the title, to like behind Arsenal. He's already won. We talk about City. A lot of our fans like to blame City on the cheats. We're behind Arsenal now. You don't realise that we're behind Arsenal now. We're not behind City. Yeah? So it can't be just to cheat. You know what I'm saying? So we're behind Arsenal now. We're letting like some Man United come back. I mean, you look at Man United. They've won 2 trophies in the last 2 seasons. That's more than what Klopp did in the last 2 seasons. Being honest,
just announced 2 signings tonight as well as we've been recording.
Yeah,
so
I saw them come up, and I've also seen a text message coming up saying, "Why have Liverpool briefed that 4 days before they fought?" So I want to know what will be briefed out now. I'll just fear the worst now. With everything, I'll get a text off. Apparently, we'll brief something out 4 days before Premier League game starts. I can't be arsed, mate. Honestly, I'm looking forward to fucking Premier League. I honestly can't be arsed already.
And it hasn't even kicked off yet. And this is Damon. We got this for the whole season.
It's just honestly, it's okay. I'm on holiday I'm on holiday we're going on holiday on Saturday, so I'll be over in Paris watching the Liverpool game. So at least I can drown my sorrows in sunshine. So, but yeah, I think we'll beat Ipswich on Saturday anyway, regardless. But yeah, I still third for me. Third.
It's interesting. It's going to be
I'm
interesting.
so optimistic at.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. But as always, thanks, pleasure. Enjoy doing our Premier League preview. I'm going to miss them actually. I think obviously the debate show will take over that, which will be interesting. But no, it's been good, insightful. If you're new, as I said at the start of this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the videos. Again, leave your thoughts in the comments. And also, if you're an audio listener, make sure you head over to the audio version of the podcast and listen on there as well. Again, I think if you're on Spotify, you can now leave comments on there as well. So make sure you do that as well. Fellas, been a good episode. We know it's coming next, Kojo. United. And on that note, we're out. Thank you very much for watching.